And I think, thank you, and I think what we did was, let's just review the kind of questions you ask of any poem. First of all, who is the speaker? Who is the speaker?
Browning?
You mean the poet Browning?
Yes.
Okay, he's the author, and I cannot distinguish between the author and the narrator or speaker here.
So it's just
The previous poem, the one you see a little bit of up there, My Last Duchess, who was the speaker?
Duke.
So, you see, authors, poets can take characters in the poem. That's not Browning. Browning didn't live in the Renaissance, so it's clearly not him. Here, it very well could be him. We don't know. So, secondly, what is the audience? What is always the audience? Who is always the audience?
Us.
All right, but that's not always the only thing. For instance, in the first poem, who was the audience? Remember, who was he talking to the entire time?
With the painter?
No, but he did talk to the painter in the poem at one point. But who was he addressing even that to? The servant of the count whose daughter he wanted to marry for money. So here the audience is always us. We were the audience, but here it's only us. All right, what is the situation? What is the circumstance of the poem?
He's walking across the beach to meet with his lover at the farm.
Yes, but not only the beach, what else has he traversed? What other,
Sails.
he's been on the ocean, he's been on a beach, what else has he been on? What else did he have to cross to get to her?
Field.
Fields. So ocean, beach, fields, and then where does the poem at that point take place at the very end? Delaney, where's the end of the poem take place? And where is he headed? He's clearly got a destination, and it's what time of day is it? Or night? What time of day or night is it? Delaney, what kind of day is it? There's two ways to figure that out. Isabella, what time of day is it? It's right in there. Look at the first and second line of the poem. How do you know that?
The moon is out.
Yes, and it says black land, and the moon's out. But there's a third one in the fourth line of the second, the third and fourth line of the second stanza.
Sounds actually.
Well, that's true. Where's that? Yeah, from their sleep. That very good. I hadn't even thought about that. That's really good. What about the second stanza? A quick, sharp scratch, a tap at the pane, quick, sharp scratch, and blue spurt of a lighted match. Why'd they light the match? It's dark. So there's plenty of indication that it's night. See, when you're a reader of poetry or literature, sometimes you have to be a detective. You have to gather the evidence and then come to a conclusion. So what's happening, again, Sierra told us at the beginning. What's actually happening? What are the circumstances?
They're meeting in the dark because their families, or is that her family doesn't like him?
Yeah, if it's autobiographical. But before we get to that, I apologize for missing the most obvious clue as to what time of day it is. What's the title of the poem? See, that's what I've been trying to teach you and my students. It's right there in front of you, and you miss it. I did. I knew it was night, but I was looking at the clues. It tells you right, and don't overlook the title. All right. So, what kind of relationship do they have, Aurora?
Romantic.
Yes, tell me more.
I guess they live far away from each other, so they
Yes.
don't get to see each
A
other.
distance, long distance relationship. Tell me more.
About like their relationship.
Yes.
I guess like
Well, that's a good point. He goes a lot of trouble to see her. Delaney, is there anything else that in the poem that would indicate what kind of relationship they have? We said it's a distant relationship, it's a passionate relationship, it's romantic. And even the title would again, indicate what kind of relationship they have.
Secretive?
Yes. It's at night, and did he bang on the door, let me in? What did he do?
He scratched it.
On what? The door?
The window.
The window. Whose window probably was it?
Yeah.
Her window. He taps on the window. Did they turn on the lights? Did they build a bonfire? What did they do?
Put a small match.
One match. And did they yell at each other? Hey, it's so good to see you. What'd they do?
It was
How do you know?
a voice less loud.
Then what?
A regular voice.
No, what does it say? Less loud than what?
Their hearts.
So how soft would you have to be to hear a heartbeat?
So,
I cannot hear your heartbeats. I cannot hear them. How close would you have to get close to somebody to hear the heartbeat?
Very close.
I mean, your ear has to be on their chest to feel or hear the heartbeat. That's how soft their voices were. So it's, I mean, you can pick it very. And you said, why would it be secretive?
So they have to meet at night.
But why would they have to meet at night? Why,
Nobody else is out.
what?
Because nobody else is out.
Yeah, but why are they keeping it a secret? What you?
They're not supposed to be.
Yeah, somehow we don't know if this is Browning or not, but either way, there's something wrong. Somebody didn't like this, and they're trying to keep it a secret. They don't want other people to know. All right, so all those are reviews of what you have to do to figure out a poem. You have to ask all those questions. Two last questions. Would you tell me? Would you circle every color in the poem? Did we do that yet? Would you circle every color?
Every color.
Every color. I found 4. Anybody find more than that? So what are these here?
Gray, black, yellow, blue.
All right, that's clearly imagery, right? Because imagery appeals to what? What is imagery? How many senses do you have? There are 5. That would be sight. Circle every word that deals with sound. All right, what'd you find, Isabella?
slushy, maybe,
Okay, sure.
like a
Yeah,
tap, a scratch.
yeah,
A voice less loud,
right.
and then the heart's beating.
Very good. How about every word that deals with touch or feel? And they could overlap. You could have words that mean more than one thing. Feel, touch. What'd you find, Aurora?
The slushy
Yeah,
sand and the scratch and the heart's beating.
the scratch, I didn't even think about that. Scratch, definitely. That's a sound, it's a touch, beating's heart, I mean, beating is a touch. Slushy, what about, smell? See any with smell?
Sea scented.
I see that as the only one. Anybody see another one? Sight, sound, smell, touch. How about taste? Yes. What? But it's referring here to what? Even though it's a taste word, what does it refer to you? Yeah, quenching, meaning stopping. Yeah. What about fiery? What sense does that appeal to? Sight, it could be touch, of course. And then all the ones that dealt with sight.
Could you say light of match for smell?
Absolutely. And then you have words like leap and pushing. Some people call, it's kinetic, it's movement. Some people have a separate category for that. Usually it's just the five senses, but then you have movement like that. Anyway, why do we do that? What does this tell us about the poet? What is the chief device of the poet? What does that make that, Isabella, what do you call those things? Sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. They create what?
Imagery?
Yes, and so the fact that there's lots of imagery would suggest what about the meaning or the poet? I mean, they're not abstract things about love or talk about your feelings or fear. None of that. So what does that tell you? That it's all concrete. Things that you can see, smell, taste, touch. Can you draw any conclusions about the poem? Yeah, that's life. It actually, don't you like things you can see, smell, taste, and touch? Yeah. Doesn't involve any faith. It's all things right in front of you. So he wrote a poem, Delaney, about love without using the word love in it. Just curious, do you use the word, not just you, but any of y'all use the word love a lot? Do you tell people you love them? Like your grandmom, your mom and dad, your brother maybe. But what about people outside of your immediate family? It's something people do a lot. I didn't grow up that way. I had trouble telling my mother I loved her. She loved me, I loved her. We just didn't say it a lot. We would write letters. When you're a kid, you write a letter to grandma. Love, Al. You always end it love. That was the only. Of course, you don't do that with business letters. But so, what does this tell you, Delaney? That he writes a poem about love without using. How did he get that? What's his point? That he writes a poem about love without ever saying the word love.
Like the stuff that he writes about her shows that.
Yes, he went to a lot of trouble, right, to show her that he loves her. The land, the sea, the beach, the threat, the danger, of all those things. All right, so it's a poem about love without using the word love. And I've got one more thing to hand you. I hope I can put my hands right here.
Are they the real
When we
questions?
start senior year, it's gonna be our last first day of school.
Yay.
No, college.
No, college.
Last first day of school. High school.
College is school.
I don't
See
know.
what I'm saying?
You can leave.
the original movie. Yeah.
When I saw like the black thing, I was literally, I'm supposed to
people are staying in the state, but like, some people like, oh, he wants to go to Auburn. Dang. Huh.
Get out of the state.
I have another poem here, if you'll give me a minute. Oh, here it is. I had another one.
I wanna get out of the state, go to New York, kind of, you know.
I wanna leave.
Trauma jump.
Yeah,
Trauma
not
jump.
New York City.
We can be
Trauma
roommates at
jump.
Parsons.
Not New York City, no, no. New York by Canada. Country New York.
I put the holes on the wrong side of the page.
That's okay, Mr. Bowell.
I feel better now.
That was open.
All right, so this poem is by Robert Browning's wife. He wrote the first poem, Meeting at Night, without ever using the word love. Anybody like to read this?
Is this 10 things I love about you? 10 things I hate about you?
What is that? Is that a song?
It's a movie.
It's a really good movie.
It's a rom-com.
Or would you read it, Sierra? Or,
The-
by the way, what kind of poem does it look like?
Read the script of the movie.
No, what kind of poem does it look like?
Wait,
You don't know that many kinds of poems, but you know that, yes. How do you know it's a sonnet?
I don't know, I just guessed.
Well, count the number of lines. Count it. How many are there?
It's like 14.
It looks like a short poem. It's kind of a boxy type, shape. 14, yeah.
I got it
So
first.
good.
All right, anyway,
And the best.
the name of the poem is the title. The title of the poem is the first line of the poem. That tells you that she didn't title it. She gave it a number. So would you read it?
Okay.
Okay, listen, ladies, I want you to hear this.
Listen.
This is written by a woman.
How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. I love these, the depth and breadth and height. My soul can reach with feeling out of sight. For the ends of being an ideal Greece, I love thee to the level of every days. Most quiet need by sun and candlelight. I love thee freely as men strive for right. I love thee purely as they turn from praise. I love thee with a passion put to use. In my old griefs and with my childhood's faith. I love thee with a love I seem to lose. With my lost saints, I love thee with the breath, smiles and tears of all my life. And if God choose, I shall love be better after death.
All right, so I want you to answer these questions I'm going to call out. I want you to find the answer in the poem, and I want you to write them down. So you gotta have a pencil. I don't think there are any written down. I'm gonna recite
Class is
it.
over. It is.
What is she saying?
Do we need to? Hi, Mr. Bowell.
What are you doing?
Class ended, right?
Yes.
When did this one?
I guess so.
Oh,
All right, ladies, we will do that tomorrow. Bring the book with you. We're gonna pick up.
When is the reading due?
I'm gonna decide tomorrow.